Thanks, Maria.
Can you tell us what you have been experiencing and assess the situation from the ground?
It was heartbreaking there to see how many people still have been forgotten. And this is difficult to capture in words when you see entire towns and entire communities have literally disappeared with their lives, their homes, their businesses, their entire life savings swept away in this 20-foot wall of water that went through their communities. The sad thing is, Maria, you know, I look back to what happened in Maui during the wake of the tragic historic fires there and the many layers of failures that came from FEMA, and I'm seeing the exact same thing play out here today. While Vice President Harris and Joe Biden claim to be doing all they can and providing all the resources possible, FEMA is out on the ground, they say, but when you go out into these rural communities, they have yet to see anyone with a FEMA jacket on knocking on their door saying, how can we help you? It is a slap in the face to these Americans to also then hear how the Secretary of Department of Homeland Security is saying, sorry, we don't have enough money because we are providing hundreds of millions of dollars to illegal immigrants and providing them with free rent, free housing, free food, and other entitlements. Meanwhile, these people have lost their homes, they've lost their vehicles, they've lost their businesses, and they're wondering how they're going to get by to tomorrow, what to speak of next week, next month, and next year. There are such a huge laundry list of the needs that they have. You look at power. So many of these communities are still without power. There are many small towns with hundreds or maybe 1,000 people who live in these towns. As you're seeing here in these images, they have yet to be able to get the power they need to be able to get access to water and water pumps and wells. They are wondering, where is FEMA? Where are the Army Corps of Engineers? Why haven't people come out there and started to do the necessary work that the volunteer firefighters are unable to do themselves? They're doing all that they possibly can, and they're wondering, where is our government? Why are they not here for us? This is just another example, unfortunately, of Vice President Harris and Joe Biden's American people come last policies, and we're feeling it firsthand.
It's so troubling, and I know, thank God for you and your nonprofit and all the other nonprofits out there, because they're not getting the help from Kamala Harris and Joe Biden, that's for sure. The update that we have is that your nonprofit has raised $200,000 from 2,064 individuals. Donations continue to come in. The White House is trying to tell us that no, this is two different pools of money. We didn't use FEMA money for the illegals, but Karine Jean-Pierre actually told us what they were doing back in 2022. Watch this, it's absolutely outrageous, listen.
FEMA regional administrators have been meeting with city officials on site to coordinate available federal support from FEMA and other federal agencies. Funding is also available through FEMA's emergency food and shelter program to eligible local governments and non-for-profit organizations upon request to support humanitarian relief for migrants. We'll continue to do what we can as a federal government to support these cities as we rebuild our asylum processing system after it was gutted by the Trump administration.
Yeah, there you go. Busted and busted again, Tulsi. She just told us what she was doing in 2022. They've actually cleaned out the money because they gave it to illegals. Is this incompetence, or do they just not care?
You know, we can't say that this incompetence, because incompetence implies that you do care and you've made your best effort, but you have failed. They have made very clear their priorities all along, and unfortunately, it's the American people and our fellow Americans who are in the most dire need in this moment of disaster who are feeling the consequences of that. They've created these open borders. They've provided our taxpayer dollars. You've seen how people are saying, yeah, you know, I get up to 2 years of free rent. They're giving me money for food, and they're giving me money to support the family. Coming from illegal immigrants who are saying this. That's coming from this Harris-Biden administration. My heart broke over and over again, Maria, as I was speaking to these families who've poured their life savings into their little local small business, into building a life in these small rural communities there in the mountains of North Carolina. and they literally have absolutely nothing and don't even know whether insurance will cover it. Many of them don't even have insurance because they don't get these kinds of floods there. This is the kind of assistance that FEMA exists for, to be able to provide support to our fellow Americans in their greatest time of need. And bottom line is, they're not there for them.
Unbelievable. Councilwoman, let me just ask you this, because you were a Democrat at one point. You have been traveling the country with Bobby Kennedy. You saw Elon Musk yesterday with President Trump. Do you believe that the GOP is expanding its tent under President Trump?
Yes. The short answer is yes. You know, when I joined the Democratic Party over 20 years ago, one of the reasons why I joined that party was because it was a big open tent party that stood up for free speech and civil liberties and welcomed people from different backgrounds. It was a party that stood for peace. You fast forward to where we are today. Now that party is no longer recognizable, and you have, under President Trump's leadership, what is now a big open tent party where people are welcomed in, not because we agree on every issue. We don't. We disagree on some issues and maybe some serious issues, but we are standing together around the most important ones that are essential to all of us as Americans. You heard President Trump talk about that yesterday. Elon Musk, it's what Bobby Kennedy and I are sharing with people across the country, that it is freedom, it is the well-being and interests of the American people, peace, prosperity, and security for all of us.
All right, Tulsi, it's great to have you this morning. Please come back soon. Thank you.
I look forward to it.